The $150 a plate dinner you just ate at your cousin's luxury destination wedding was actually invented to salvage an inedible, tough old farm bird.
Which is just wild when you actually stop and think about it for a second.
It really is. I mean, just put yourself in this scenario. You are standing in the middle of a breathtaking chateau, right? Nestled somewhere in the south of France.
That sounds terrible.
Oh, yeah, absolute torture. But you are planning the ultimate elegant celebration for your closest family and friends.
Right.
The lighting is immaculate, the floral arrangements are flawless, and you want a menu that just screams timeless luxury. So naturally, you serve a dish that originated centuries ago out of sheer desperate peasant necessity.
It is honestly one of the most fascinating contradictions in the entire culinary world.
Right.
Because we associate modern French luxury with Michelin stars, quiet intensity, exorbitant price tags. But the foundation of those experiences is deeply, unapologetically rustic.
And to figure out exactly how that jump happened, from survival food to high-end elegance, we are jumping into an incredibly detailed resource today.
Yes, we are.
We have a comprehensive guide and informational blueprint provided by Weddizer, and they've basically mapped out the absolute gold standard for planning elegant, European-inspired celebrations.
Which is super helpful for this deep dive.
Exactly, because their entire approach to dining revolves around these French-inspired culinary classics. So it serves as the perfect map to decode this whole phenomena.
And, the Weddizer guide makes something very clear right from the jump. French luxury is not about just throwing the most expensive, rare ingredients onto a plate by default.
Right. It's not just about, shaving truffles over everything.
Exactly. True luxury is an evolution. I mean, we are talking about a timeline that stretches from the massive roaring fireplaces of 17th century royal kitchens and rural farmhouses all the way to the pristine, minimalist aesthetics of modern catering.
So the through line isn't caviar.
No, the through line is human effort. It's technique.
Okay, I want to test that idea immediately because when I look at the first dish the Weddizer guide highlights as a staple for high-end celebrations, my cynical brain gets a little stuck.
Okay, lay it on me.
The dish is coq au vin.
Ah, a classic.
Right, but if you translate that literally, it means rooster with wine.
It sure does.
And we are not talking about a plump, tender little farm chicken raised on organic feed here. We are talking about an old, mean rooster. If you tried to just roast one of those and eat it, you would probably lose a molar.
Oh, you would absolutely break a tooth. Those birds were pure muscle and connective tissue.
Just totally unchewable.
Pretty much. But you have to remember, in 17th century rural France, peasant farmers could not afford to waste a single source of protein.
Right, times were tough.
Extremely. So when a rooster was too old to be of any agricultural use, it had to go in the pot. But as you pointed out, the meat was incredibly tough.
So how on earth does a rubbery farm bird become the centerpiece of a black tie gala? How did it trick the world into accepting it as a luxury item?
Well, through what is essentially culinary alchemy.
Okay, I'm listening.
The peasant farmers utilized slow braising. And when you braise meat, you are cooking it slowly at a very low temperature, partially submerged in a liquid.
And that fixes the rubbery meat problem.
That's where the science steps in to save the day,
Yeah.
Because the tough part of the rooster is collagen. It's a structural protein that acts like a heavily braided rope holding the muscle fibers together.
And you can't just chew through that rope.
No, you definitely can't. But you can dissolve it.
Oh, interesting.
Right. If you apply gentle, persistent heat over the course of several hours, along with an acidic liquid, those tightly wound collagen protein structures begin to unravel.
They just break down.
They do. And they don't just disappear either. They melt down into gelatin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that gelatin is exactly what gives the sauce in a traditional coq au vin its incredibly rich, velvety, lip-smacking mouthfeel. The technique takes something physically stubborn and forcefully transforms it into something deeply luxurious.
Okay, so the Weddizer guide is actually highly specific about the liquid used for this process. It insists on red Burgundy wine.
Yes, it does.
Is there a genuine chemical reason for that, or is it just because, the dish originated in the Burgundy region and we are just rigidly sticking to tradition?
Well, it is actually a brilliant convergence of both history and chemistry.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, yes, it was the local wine. But let's look at the grapes grown in Burgundy. They're primarily Pinot Noir.
Okay.
And Pinot Noir grapes have relatively thin skins, which results in a wine that is lower in harsh tannins, but notably higher in acidity compared to, say, a heavy Cabernet Sauvignon.
Ah, I see where this is going.
Right. That specific acidic profile is the perfect catalyst for unwinding that collagen without turning the sauce overwhelmingly bitter during a long 4-hour simmer.
I see. So a different wine might tenderize the meat, but it would ruin the flavor profile of the reduction.
Precisely. The acid works the meat, while the specific fruit notes of the Pinot Noir blend perfectly with the other ingredients.
And the ingredients building that flavor profile are still so aggressively earthy. I mean, looking at the guide, it lists these hearty components. You've got the chicken, pearl onions, earthy mushrooms, whole cloves of garlic, sprigs of thyme, and thick chunks of bacon or pancetta.
A very rustic lineup.
Exactly. You read that list and you instantly picture a freezing winter night in a stone cottage. But the goal here, according to Weddizer, is to serve this at a bright, elegant destination wedding.
Which brings us to a really crucial element of modern dining, which is the duality of presentation.
What do you mean by duality?
Well, historically, coq au vin is served in heavy, scorched cast iron cookware. It is ladled out, steaming and messy, alongside a big mound of mashed potatoes or a torn hunk of artisan bread.
Right. And you cannot slap a messy, splattering cast iron pot down in front of someone wearing a custom tuxedo. The vibe is entirely wrong.
It is entirely wrong. So the modern chef steps in and completely flips the script on the visual identity.
Okay, how so?
The chemical flavor remains fiercely traditional, but the architecture of the dish is reimagined. Modern luxury events take those same rustic elements and pleat them with extreme calculated precision.
So they don't just dump it in a bowl.
Exactly. The deep, dark, wine-infused chicken is isolated and placed deliberately. The braising liquid isn't just poured over the top. It is strained, reduced down to a thick, glossy, almost mirror-like glaze, and then artfully drizzled.
Wait, so they separate the elements that cook together?
They deconstruct it visually, yeah.
Yeah.
The pearl onions and mushrooms are arranged almost geometrically around the protein.
That is so different from a stew.
It really is. And then there's the vital modern touch, which is adding microgreens or edible blossoms for a pop of vibrant, fresh color against the dark, moody reduction.
So if you are the one selecting the menu, you are basically playing a brilliant psychological trick on your guests.
You are.
You are giving them the deep, soul-satisfying comfort and nostalgia of a homemade winter stew, but wrapping it in the visual vocabulary of high-end fine dining.
And the pairing notes provided by the Weddizer guide are actually designed to ground that exact experience.
Oh, what do they recommend?
To round out the meal, they recommend serving that same red Burgundy wine to echo the acidic notes in the sauce.
Makes sense.
Right, alongside perfectly smooth, pureed garlic mashed potatoes and a fresh baguette.
Ah, keeping the bread.
Always. Because no matter how minimalist the plating is, the human instinct to soak up every last drop of that rich, gelatinous sauce remains.
You have to wipe the plate clean. It creates a bridge between the refinement of the event and the primal satisfaction of a hearty meal.
Exactly.
Now, we have explored this slow, hidden, almost glacial chemical breakdown for the main course, but I noticed something fascinating in the Weddizer guide.
What's that?
The transition from dinner to dessert represents a complete shift in technique.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, the dessert they highlight relies on rapid, violent, highly visible chemistry.
You are talking about the undisputed icon of French desserts, the crème brûlée.
I am. I mean, when I think about the construction of a crème brûlée, it feels like a magical act of balancing opposing forces.
That's a good way to put it.
It is the culinary equivalent of water and fire. You have to take this incredibly delicate, sensitive custard and protect it like a fragile newborn in a gentle, warm water bath in the oven,
Right.
only to pull it out, chill it, and then aggressively blast the top of it with a literal blowtorch.
It is wonderfully dramatic. The contrast is super theatrical,